Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the hundreds and hundreds of True School Sports subscribers. Now, there's a few fights that I want to talk about that have been made that I really haven't had a chance to get my thoughts out there about these yet, so we're just going to run through some of them in these next few videos. First fight's taking place on December 19th at, I believe, Madison Square Garden. Or no, in Verona, New York. And it'll be the co-main event with Nicholas Walters and Jason Sosa. And the fight I'm talking about is obviously the heavyweight bout between Bryant Jennings and Luis Ortiz. Now, this one is an intriguing matchup to me because on one side you got Bryant Jennings, who is kind of the forgotten American heavyweight. All the attention on American heavyweight boxing right now is really on Deontay Wilder. But Bryant Jennings is just as good as Wilder. I feel if he could beat Wilder, and he's more skilled than Wilder. And he fought Vladimir Klitschko. He fought the best guy in the division. Really only won around 2 rounds at best. But didn't get knocked out. Didn't get dominated like a lot of Klitschko opponents tend to get dominated these days. So he's got a big test, and he's fighting a guy that really nobody in the heavyweight division wants to see right now, in Luis Ortiz, the 23-0 Cuban heavyweight. He's old. He's on the other side of 36. Because some of these Cubans, it takes them a while to turn pro. But he looked good in his last fight on the Golovkin Lemieux undercard. I forgot the name of the guy. I had the name right here. His name was Matias Vidando. So, yeah, he beat him to become the interim WBA champion. So take that for what it's worth. But this is going to be a good fight because Luis Ortiz, like many of the great Cuban amateurs do, he moves very well around the ring. Has a good jab, has a powerful jab, and has some serious thump in his gloves and can get you out of there real fast. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Bryant Jennings will deal with somebody who's not as stationary as Vlad. I know Vladimir Klitschko kind of has the same 2-3 punch combination, and then he clinches you, and he kind of disrupts your rhythm that way. But I don't think we're going to see as much of that from Ortiz. So because of that, Jennings might actually have more of a chance because he's an athletic heavyweight, probably one of the most athletic heavyweights in boxing. So the fact that Ortiz isn't someone who clinches as much as Vladimir might actually play into Bryant's favor. Now, as far as Ortiz goes, he's fighting the best fighter he's ever been in the ring with in Jennings. He's fought really. You go through his resume, none of the names really look familiar. He really just fought these Cuban amateurs. He fought a lot of his first few fights. He's fighting kind of stay busy fights, solid contender type guys, and they kind of just building him up, and getting him that ring experience. Because a lot of these Cuban amateurs, their fights in Cuba really are not that long. So when they go past about round 4, they have some of them, as you see them with many Cuban fighters, they have stamina issues going into later rounds because they're not really trained that way in Cuba. So they've used, I guess, the first 23 fights of Ortiz's pro career so far to kind of just build his stamina up. And now he's fighting a guy in Jennings who's going to move around the ring, who's one of the most well-conditioned guys in the division. Not a huge puncher, but a guy with thump in his gloves. So it's a great test for him. We're looking to find out where Ortiz is at. Should he beat Jennings, who's really only been beaten by the best heavyweight in the world, then that'll put Ortiz in line for some big fights moving forward. We might see, I highly doubt that we're going to see anything like Ortiz, Klitschko. I don't think it's going to happen. The window for that fight is so small because Ortiz is old, Vlad is old, so a lot of things have to go right for that fight to happen. I'd like to see it happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. But maybe an Ortiz versus Deontay Wilder fight, that could be a possibility. So yeah, he's got a chance to put his name in the line for some big fights coming up. Should he beat Jennings, especially if he beats him decisively. For Jennings, if he beats Ortiz, which that would be great because Ortiz is the bigger man. Ortiz is the guy with more punching power. Ortiz is the guy that has you would think has more advantages. The only real advantage Bryant Jennings really has is that he's better conditioned. He has a history of being better in the later rounds in comparison to Ortiz, and that will help him if he can just get Ortiz past about round 4 or 5. So if he can get Ortiz past round 4 or 5, that would really do wonders for him. But that's easier said than done because all it takes is one punch from Ortiz. He's got really good power. If he beats Luis Ortiz, I would like to see him fight if Wilder hasn't fought Povetkin already by then. But after this fight, if he beats Ortiz, I would like to see him fight a guy like Deontay Wilder. You know, those are the two best American heavyweights at the moment. One has lost to Klitschko, the other one we want to see fight Klitschko. But I think Jennings, really, I think he could give Wilder a lot of problems. We saw in Wilder's last fight when he fought Johan Duhaupas, who's very slow, very flat-footed, doesn't really have too many dimensions to his fight game. We saw Duhaupas landing some jabs, and they weren't hard jabs. They were just like kind of half-hearted jabs, but they were hitting Wilder, and Wilder was bleeding a little bit. We've seen Eric Molina land some flush shots on Deontay Wilder. So Deontay Wilder still has a lot of holes in his game. Throws really wide hooks. Doesn't always stick with the jab later in fights. So I think Bryant Jennings could really give him problems. But we'll see, man. This is a good fight for the heavyweight division. I know we got Klitschko Fury coming up. We got this one coming up. We got Anthony Joshua, Dylan White. I think that's coming up soon. So there's a lot of good fights in the heavyweight division, and this is one of them. I'm not gonna make a prediction. That'll be later, and I'll do another video on that. But just wanted to get my thoughts on that. I think it's a good fight, and we're gonna find out a lot about both of these fighters. And they're both being put in tough. Jennings initially was trying to get this fight done, and then I think something happened with Ortiz where he turned it down. But for whatever reason, I guess they made an offer that Jennings couldn't refuse to get in the ring with a guy that a lot of people just don't want to fight right now. So that's what it is. Jennings, Ortiz, December 14th, HBO, Verona, New York. Should be a good one. Let me know what you guys think about it. Who do you think would win? Why? But outside of each other, who would you like to see either one of these guys fight in the future down the road? Leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. Visit TrueSchoolSports.com as always. And until next time, take care, guys.